Nisse, as always, is prepared with the correct footwear for the occasion. It's lucky you have a sidestep.
Yeah.
Hello guys, welcome back to TSBEC TV and welcome to the first video we're actually doing together in 2020. How exciting! Nisse is back on a break from his deployment, so we thought it would be the perfect opportunity to go out and do a Q&A and answer some of your questions for the year ahead, and it just so happens that the weather is perfect. So we're going to do a little drive around, do some off-roading as well while we're at it. We're not just going to stand here and answer 30 questions, we're going to go around, do some interesting things, but we'll kick off with a couple of questions first before we jump back in and go somewhere and probably this all goes horribly wrong. So, the first question, this one's for you, Nisse. When are we going to see Project Bob?
Actually, I don't know when we're gonna see him. I'm actually trying, might as well break the ice now, but I'm actually trying to sell him to get a bit of money to found the Creeper project, which I'm now still getting parts for. But right now he's still down in the barn, he isn't sold yet, just standing there, he still works. Being sad and old and...
This weird Frankenstein monster.
Yeah.
Neglected.
Neglected, I think.
Kicked out of society.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe we can, I would really like, I don't know what state he's in, I actually haven't seen Project Bob for ages, but I'd really like to do some kind of send-off at least, or get him out one more time if he's going to be sold.
Yeah.
But
if he's not sold by summer, when I get back, we can take him up in the harvested fields and do a bit of donuts and things up there.
That would be fun. Next question, are you doing any more Just Defender Things videos? Yes, I actually have a list of ideas for Just Defender Things 4. On my phone. We basically just keep a list and just add things to it throughout the year, and then when we have enough ideas we go and film another one, but we usually tend to do them like in spring, summer, because it just tends to be the best time to do them because of the weather. So maybe this summer when Nisse is back from his deployment we will do Just Defender Things 4. One more before we head off. Will you be making it to the 2020 LRO show? Too early to say, I think.
Yeah,
at this point.
It's too early to say right now.
We've been every year for the last like 3 years, so obviously we'd love to go, but just too early to say at this point, so we'll keep you updated on that. Anyway, I think we should jump in, and I'm going to follow you, which always ends well, and we'll see where we end up and answer the next batch of questions. So picturesque in here. We keep stopping every 5 meters to take pictures and work out where's the best place to put the camera. So it means everything takes about twice as long as it should. I mean, we've driven like 200 meters since we did the intro, but we are heading out now. This is just awesome. It's been so long since we've done a proper off-roading trip that's kind of gone well, and the weather's been good and all of this. Also the first time we've had the Disco 2 out into the woods, I think, on camera. Of course we took it to the test track last year, but that's kind of a, you know, an enclosed space. It's not like going out into the woods. It's not quite the same. And it's also going to be interesting to try out my new Davanti Terratura tyres, because it is the first time that I'm using them off-road, which is cool. Nisse's Disco is actually running road tyres, because he put those on because he's using it on the road mostly. But they seem to be faring fine. It's dry around here mostly though anyway, so we should be alright. Although I have a feeling where we're going next could be a bit muddier. So we shall see what happens. Just hear the sound of all that mud flying up into the wheel arches. Grateful for those Gwyn Lewis mud shields now though. Going to help a lot in situations like this. We've now made it to the next location and we have far more questions than we actually realised, so we're going to have to rattle through these a bit more. Nisse, I think this is another one for you. Planning anything with a 6-cylinder that's not the series? How is the RB in a series going? In other words, how is the creeper going?
Yeah, creeper is going good actually. Now I'm deployed and making a lot of money, and for that you put it all into a frame with wheels pretty much. So
Yes,
right now
solid investment.
Yeah, solid investment. But right now I've spoken to a guy who can make a 88 series frame where it's not leaf sprung but coil sprung, which means that we can pretty much take any Defender, just go 1 and Range Rover Classic axles that I already have and just throw those under. So we get a series of sleeve sprung, and also I've come in contact with a guy that can make complete new bulkhead for it, for the 6-cylinder, which needs more space because it's longer and bigger. So both of those should be here by summer, hopefully. But it does take quite a long time because all have to be special made. It's quite expensive, but those two things are being looked into. And for the engine, I only need to do a tiny bit of welding and inlet manifold. And of course then comes the wiring, the ECU, clutch, all that. But I would say we're actually pretty close on getting that. Hopefully when I get back we should start actually mounting the engine and gearbox into the frame, doing all that. So
the short answer is we're nearly done.
We're nearly done, nearly there. Just a couple of more of many dollars and things.
Exactly.
Yeah, many work hours.
But we haven't given up on it or
No,
anything.
no.
It's just, well, Nisse I think explained everything. It will be coming back once everything is in place. What made you choose Storm Tuning over the other remapping companies, and will you be getting a VNT turbo? Storm Tuning, well, they approached us and we thought, why not? Sounded like a good offer and fun. We basically just went with them, and everything turned out really, really well. It's just been a match made in heaven. For us, we've been getting on really well with them, and it's just been a great partnership. That's that basically. And VNT turbo, Nisse, I think you have plans of the Disco to fit something.
Like just right now, a couple of seconds ago, when I went onto Instagram, Storm Tuning just posted a picture on the Instagram with the new hybrid turbo, which I really want to try because I know some secrets about it. I'm not allowed to tell, so I'll definitely be waiting for hybrid turbo and throwing that in, and you'll get to see why I'm choosing hybrid over VNT when that time comes.
Yep, that's another big thing that will be coming. What's the next mod for the TD590? I don't know specifically what the next mod will be. I've got a long list of things I want to do, but the main focus for me right now is basically cleaning it up, making it look nice, and sort of restoring it a bit, so it's just running and looking as it should. So I don't know exactly what the next thing will be. And then he also asks, when will we see another off-roading video featuring the V8 in the summer where everything goes wrong? Well, I think you've answered the question yourself. It will be in the summer. So
in the summer, everything will probably go wrong again.
Yes, I think when you get back in the summer, we can probably look into that.
We'll do a nice off-roading day.
Yeah,
where we go completely bananas.
For sure, when the weather is better.
Yeah,
because it has. Well, I'm going to say it's been non-stop raining, but that's probably a good thing for off-roading because it's very muddy.
It is.
With children on the way, can you buy a replacement back seat for a 1990 110 with Isofix built into them? I don't know. To be completely honest, I don't know. Maybe someone else can answer that in the comments down below. It's not something I have knowledge around.
We don't have children yet. So.
No, fortunately no.
Yeah.
We just have these very expensive things. My suggestion would be Google and also look at Facebook Land Rover groups. Post your question there.
Yeah.
Someone will almost certainly know the answer to that, but we don't, unfortunately. Nisse, as always, is prepared with the correct footwear for the occasion. It's lucky you have a sidestep.
Yeah.
I feel like throughout this shot I'm going to slowly get shorter and shorter. Okay, I think I'm going to stand here for this shot because my left foot isn't moving anyway.
No.
So let's just answer some more questions. How's the creeper coming along? Basically answered that already. Will you get the new Defender and drive it around the Land Rover test track? I would really love to, and I really hope so, but no guarantees on that just yet. Could you do some off-roaring videos? I think that's meant to be off-roading. Yes, we can.
Off-roaring.
Off-roaring. It's
high revving. off-roading, I guess.
I was thinking of dinosaurs, but I mean, they're kind of involved with burning them in a way. What is the best MPG you get from both your Defenders? To be quite honest, I don't keep track of that at all. It's just a toy now. It's not my daily driver, so I just fill it up and drive it around. And when it's empty, I fill it up. I don't really keep track of that, to be quite honest. If people are interested in knowing that, perhaps we could do something centered around that, and perhaps some kind of economy video. I don't know, maybe a long journey or whatever. But surely you must know. You do long journeys in your disco.
It's about
whatever the Danish European equivalent is.
Kilometers per liter, but I do about. I think the best I've done is about 10 kilometers per liter in that, which is okay. Compared to I do have a quite heavy right foot when driving, and since that stage 2, haven't really gotten any better. But around there, I think.
Yeah. How long did you have your remap before you got a speeding ticket?
A couple of days, I think.
Okay. Next question, can you do a video outlining, well, that's kind of what we just spoke about. Can you do a video outlining costs of your Defenders, insurance, cost to buy, etc.? Yes, that's actually something I was considering doing at some point, so we can definitely do some kind of running costs video if people are interested. What mileage are your Defenders on, and what major engine work have you had to do? Huge fan, keep up the amazing content, Jack. Thank you very much. What mileage? Mine is on 305,000 kilometers. I think that's about 190,000 miles. I can put it down on the screen if I'm wrong. Your V8 is...
the V8 is just over, wasn't it just over 200, I think?
I think so.
Yeah.
I was going to say about 200.
Yeah, just about 200,000.
Kilometers.
Kilometers, yeah. And that one
and the disco?
240, just about.
240. Mine, I have had to change... The turbo was probably the biggest thing. Turbo... water pump, steering box. I don't know, but to be honest, what I'm thinking of doing is doing a video where I basically do a 300,000 kilometer review of my Defender, because obviously that's quite a milestone to reach, and not a lot of people do that much mileage. So I think I'll do a video at some point where I cover all of this stuff and I'll actually think it through what's been done in all of this time, because there's more than that. But those are some of the biggest, most expensive jobs that have had to be done. What is Nisse's favourite modification on either his 90 or Disco 2?
On the V8 is, apart from it being a V8, that's a nice modification, but also it is the Maasai winch bumper and the winch. Those two things are like the best thing.
Not the tyres?
The tyres are good, but winch can always get you out of trouble. Yeah.
That winch has saved us a lot of time.
Absolutely.
We would have
used and abused
I think if
winch.
you hadn't got that winch, we would still be like out there somewhere, just completely starving and everything. And what about Disco 2? You haven't done that much to it yet, but what?
Stage 2.
Stage 2
yeah,
remap. Okay.
Definitely stage 2.
My left foot is firmly enveloped into the ground now.
Same as mine. Like.
Oh, you've literally just taken your shoe off.
Yeah.
Okay, your shoe has remained. Your shoe is part of the ground. What is the best way to wire up the DRL and indicator features of an upgraded LED headlamp?
Oh, that was great fun when we did that.
For mine?
Yeah, the wires on it.
Yeah.
The best way to do it really is just to have a multimeter and just test out all the wires and see whenever you indicate that wire has to go to this plug and so on and so forth. Because when we did yours, it wasn't straight plug and play, from what I remembered. But it wasn't that complicated. It's just a couple of wires. You have to make sure they're the right ones.
You just said it was complicated, then you made it sound very simple.
It was when you looked at all the wires, but when you start like actually going into it and seeing what wires for what and having a wire diagram is quite easy just to fix it. Like say this is the indicator from the headlight, you have to wire that into the indicators on the sides and just split into those. So that way it's quite easy, but you have to do like a wire diagram over it before you start digging into it and cutting wires.
Yep.
And have a multimeter ready as well.
Does Nisse still have his V8 90, and if he does he still drive it?
Yes and yes.
Yes. It will feature on the channel again at some point, we promise.
Yeah.
Would you ever do a tug of war between the V8 and the TD5, or do a video between the pros and cons of a diesel and a petrol Land Rover?
I don't think there are any pros with a petrol Land Rover, because the only engine they made was the 3.5 V8 and
well, and, I mean, if we're talking like, you know, old school, like the stuff we use, obviously now there's a lot more petrol Land Rovers if you want, but we don't have those. We could, but it would literally be like TD5 versus V8.
Yeah.
So I think pros noise. And it's a V8, and cons, it's a V8. So, yeah, I mean, we could do that, potentially. What's the plan for TierSpec TV upcoming 2020? New project, question mark. New mods on Nisse's V8 or Liam's TD5. Creeper, is it alive? Or the range pickup truck with supercharger. In other words, Project Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of that. The Creeper is still alive, or being brought back to life.
It is being brought back.
There will be more on that. We've spoken about that. There'll be more mods for my TD5 for sure. Your V8 probably not as much,
not
but
right now.
for the Disco 2 definitely.
Yeah.
But we will be using the V890 for videos just for fun. Oh, that was a noise. And Project Bob, potentially, but he is up for sale, as Nisse has already touched upon. So if you're interested in purchasing Project Bob, you can get in touch. I think we'll leave that there and go forward a bit. Probably get stuck. Well, if they don't get stuck, we'll get stuck.
Yeah,
I mean,
we are stuck now.
We will attempt to free ourselves, and hopefully you'll see us in a minute somewhere else. God,
I can't get to my car now.
It's making some very interesting sounds.
Mother Earth complaining.
Sorry?
Mother Earth complaining.
I was thinking of other things, but okay.
Oh, I'll go with feet now. Oh, yep.
It's just completely boggy owing to the non-stop rain we've had recently, as you will know from the past couple of videos. So nice to be out and about though. And the Disco 2 is just plodding along on the road tyres. Found some slightly firmer ground, which is always good. So, on to the next questions. What tools do you carry in your Defenders, if any? I have a socket set. I have some Allen keys. I have
a workshop.
A sponge for wiping the windscreen when it's all wet and full of condensation. I have lots of odd bits and bobs, to be honest. The reason I have the Allen keys is so I can get the seats out, because you need them to get my seats out, which is a bit awkward. Socket set is just a handy little, just a small socket set, handy little thing to have. I have some spanners, just like bits left over from jobs, you know, that always end up there. What about you?
Yeah, I've also got a spanner set, the bigger one than you have, but I also use around the farm, so if I need to go up and do something to a car, I can just bring that out.
We're sorry, apparently the Danish Formula 1 Grand Prix is now taking place just over that hill.
Yeah, well,
apparently we're missing out on something anyway.
Definitely we are. But yeah, having that, of course, some recovery tools, ropes, shackles, that's in the back of that one, and
yeah, recovery, that's a pretty vital thing to have. Actually, I have some ropes as well.
And also a first aid kit and some extra
also useful
props for that. Yeah, and fire extinguisher.
Also useful. Is Nisse enjoying his Discovery 2? I've got 2 now, but seriously considering selling both for a TD590. So are you enjoying it?
I'm really enjoying mine. I absolutely love it. It's so luxurious compared to a Defender, but again, the Defender is something special. Like the first thing I did when I got back home here was taking the blue V8 out for a drive, going up to a workshop, and that was absolutely, I was in heaven when I drove that thing. Just like the Defender feel and the V8 rumble as well. That cannot be done by a Discovery, but it's so much better to drive longer roads, trips and all that.
Yeah, I mean, most of your stuff is longer distance,
yeah,
so
it is,
the Discovery actually suits that better.
Really nice for it.
So I've driven it once or twice, and I'm always impressed by how sort of big and floaty it feels.
Yeah,
it's very nice.
Fine.
What's your opinion on the new Land Rover Defender, and do you think it will replace the old ones? Personally, I really like it for the most part. I think maybe the pricing is a little bit steep, but I like what it does, the way it looks, all of that stuff. And I did a full video going through my thoughts on it just after it was revealed, so if you want to go check that out for more detail, then you can. We haven't driven it yet, unfortunately. Well, what do you think of it as well?
I think
all same sentiment.
It won't replace that thing.
But that's kind of the next point, yeah. Do you think it will replace the old ones? I think it depends how you define replace. I don't think necessarily everyone that owns an old Defender is going to go out and suddenly buy a new one. But that's not to say that the new one doesn't do what it does well. I think it will still be a very popular car. I think lots of people and organisations will still use it for what it's been built for. But of course the old Defender isn't going anywhere. It's still around, you can still drive it. The people that drive it and love it will still own them. Some people who have them for businesses or farmers or whatever will still use them. So I think both can coexist perfectly fine.
But I don't think the new one will do as a farm vehicle. It won't replace like that specific Land Rover, my dad's specific Land Rover 90, because it will be too refined to take into the woods and get a couple of scratches here and there.
But I think that's down to I think that's down to mindset though, because it's like, of course you can use it in the same way, it just won't look as nice at the end of it. Like a Defender kind of wears all of that wear and tear nicely. It sort of doesn't, you know, it sort of suits it. It wears nicely. Yeah. Whereas the new one, it might not have the same effect, but that's not to say you can't use it for the same thing. It's just that whether people will is another question.
Yeah, and again, it's very modern. I don't think you can replace many things yourself with a computer.
But, of course, I hope that sometime this year we will have access to one and we can actually talk about that in more detail.
Should be able to get one here.
Well, your dad's ordered one.
Yeah, so we will get one.
We will have one at some point. Yeah. What are the next upcoming mods you guys want to do? Any of the Land Rovers, and where's projects, Bob, Creeper, and all of the other forgotten projects? Mods wise, for me, like I said, I don't know specifically what I'm going to do next, although I do have a long list of things I want to do, so I'll pick something off that list and do it. What about you, mod wise?
Front bumper, rear bumper, more power.
That sounds like a solid plan. And as for the projects, Project Bob is up for sale, but like Nisse said, if he's not gone by the summer, we will do some stuff in the summer when the weather is more appropriate. The Creeper is still around. Nisse is just gathering money and parts in order to actually do something with it, and so hopefully by the summer he will have the necessary parts and money that we can actually seriously start getting our fingers into that. If someone offered you to carry a full electric conversion on your Defenders, would you make the change or stay with the TD5/V8 engine, and why? I would stick with the TD5 because I love what it does, and I think there's a lot more soul to an internal combustion engine than an electric car. I would love to. I know there are companies that are already converting Defenders to electric, and I would love to try one. I think it's probably very practical, to be quite honest, in many cases. But for me personally, this is something really special, and you know, I want it to be the way it is. It's every time I get into it, it has that Defender feel, and the agricultural diesel engine and the noise and all of that. You just can't replicate that with electricity. No. So I assume you'd be the same. Well, I mean, he said TD5/V8, so I mean, I wouldn't replace the TD5 for an electric engine. I definitely wouldn't replace a V8 engine for an electric motor. Will you or Nisse buy the new Defender? I like the optimism that we're like seriously considering that. Unfortunately, no, we won't right now. Who knows, maybe at some point in the future when they're on the used market and they're cheaper, we might, but it's certainly not going to happen in the foreseeable future. Do you have any video ideas with other YouTubers in the future for off-roading or Defender maintenance? No, the only guys we've ever really done something else with is Club 86, who I'm sure most of you are familiar with. Yeah, they're the only other people we've actually sort of collaborated with in any way, as in they just kind of featured in one of our videos, and that was about it. We would love to do more with them, for sure. The geographical space between us is obviously what makes it difficult. But when the Creeper is up and running and their project is up and running, we would love to get those two together and do something.
Definitely for sure. Face off.
Tillium, your roof either needs colour coding or going black to complement the new wheels. Is it on the cards? A lot of people have said this since I got the Sawtooth, that I should paint the roof to kind of match the look of the rest of it. Personally, I really like the white roof. I think it's like a classic Land Rover look to have the white roof, all the way from Series up to Defenders, and I just really like the way it looks. That's not to say I wouldn't paint it, but I would only do that if I was going to do a full respray, to be honest. I wouldn't go out just to paint the roof. If I'm going to like rebuild the car or respray the car, then I would consider doing a different colour. But for now, it's going to stay as it is. So, we've got a few questions left, but you're kind of like wandering off already. We've got a few questions left. We're going to go to one more location. We'll head out on the open road this time, and then we will finish off the last of the questions. Popped up to the silos to rattle off the last of the questions before we end this video. So the next question on the list is, what do you think of my Landy? Cool. Looks beefy. Approved. Next mods for the TD5, TD5s and V8. For my TD5, I've got a long list of things I want to do, but apparently lots of people seem to be interested in what's coming next, because this has been asked a lot. So I can give a hint, I guess. There will be some new cool stuff coming from ORE, which I'm really looking forward to, as well as a bunch of other kind of quality of life improvements that I want to do to get this to the point where I want it to be, I guess. You?
Yeah, the same, pretty much. Just with more power.
More power, cool. Have you guys any longer trips planned, e.g. green laning in the UK, overlanding through Spain and Portugal, / off-roading in Russia, / camping and fishing in Iceland? Wow.
I want to do all of that.
Yeah, I want to do all of those tomorrow. We haven't planned anything, to answer the question directly, but we would totally love to do pretty much anything on that list. Hopefully it will happen at some point in the future. Iceland is probably my number one. I've actually been there before, but I really want to go back and do something Land Rover focused, and everything else sounds awesome, so let's hope we can cram that into TSPEC TV at some point in the future. You guys are awesome! With several exclamation marks. Shout me out, please! Okay, LR Discovery _6101. There you go, there's your shout out. Thank you very much for your support. When will your square stickers be back in stock? Right now. What size are Nisse's tyres, and can they fit under standard arches without a lift kit? Cheers, Alex. I assume we're talking about the V890 here.
The big ones. I think they are 35 times 12 times 12 and a half.
Yeah, I think.
Times 15R. And they cannot fit under. Normally you need to get 2-inch suspension.
They're freaking huge. Obviously, if that doesn't come across on camera, they're massive. They will not fit under standard arch.
They're like up here, about that, and about that wide.
They're huge.
They're really big.
They will not fit under standard arch.
But if you get a 2-inch lift kit, they will fit no problem. And full steering lock each side as well.
Yeah.
No spaces needed.
Yeah. And the last question: what was the first Landy you got to sit in? I don't know, because I was probably about 2 years old or something when that happened. So, I don't know, but most likely a Defender, like a Defender 90 or 110, or a Discovery 2.
Yeah.
But probably a Defender.
Or a Series, maybe.
It could have been a Series. It could have been pretty much any of any of the Land Rovers that were around in the late 90s, early 2000s. So, I don't know. It could be anything. And it might be something we still have, for all I know.
Yeah.
I really don't know. That was all of the questions for this Q&A. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Hopefully we'll be able to do something else while Nisse is here, but no guarantee. If not, he'll be back. When are you back? I actually don't know.
About a month. Time-ish.
Okay, so Nisse will be back once again, and we can do more stuff, and I'll be filling in the interim. But you now know that you can look forward to lots more creeper content in the summer, and we'll of course get the V890 out, the 101, and all of that stuff. Hopefully, all of them at the same time. Once the weather has improved and is a little bit warmer and drier outside. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys, and we will see you in the next video.